Oh no, not them too.
Unfortunately, yes. Children are now a huge target market for psychiatry. The number of childhood disorders listed in the DSM has skyrocketed from 3 disorders in 1952 to 44 today.
That's 15 times more.
And yet, the DSM basically admits it shouldn't be diagnosing children.
In early childhood, it may be difficult to distinguish symptoms of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder from age-appropriate behaviors in active children, such as running around or being noisy. We basically don't know the diagnosis from normal childhood. That's what that's saying.
Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. That's what psychiatrists call kids who don't sit still in class, fidget, run, or climb a lot. Basically childhood behavior, right?
Right. And 20 million kids worldwide have been labeled with some mental disorder.
So instead of letting kids be kids,
psychiatrists are now telling parents their children are mentally ill and need psychiatric drugs.
It used to be that you were on the playground, you'd had the weird kid, you had the shy kid, you had the goof off, you had the hyper kid. You can't have that anymore. Now it's all medical diagnoses.
For them to come up with new diseases and new issues and diagnosis in their book, it doesn't correct bad behavior, okay? They can give children all the pills they want. It still doesn't correct bad behavior.
The thinking still is, you must fit into this mold. And if you don't fit into this mold, there's something wrong with you. And if you're not the person who designs the mold, too bad for you.
A child is labeled and then they're brought to professionals who are trained a very particular way. They're all being trained that if the child fits into this category, then we should consider putting them on Ritalin because that's what they do. That is the protocol.
The way the Ritalin will be marketed to the parents is that they will say, this is a drug to calm your child down. What they won't say is that methylphenidate is a form of speed. It's a form of amphetamine, and what we're actually doing is overdosing your child on speed.
It's a stimulant. So naturally it's going to increase heart rate, increase blood pressure, and you put a kid out on a football field on a hot summer day, and his risk of having a cardiac event of some sort has just gone up.
You know, I heard that stimulants given to kids diagnosed with attention problems are chemically very similar to cocaine.
Yeah, and they have such a high potential for abuse, they're listed by the US government in the same category as morphine, opium, and methamphetamine.
So who are psychiatrists going to drug next? Babies?
Exactly. They're using what they call Diagnostic Classification 0 to 3, or DC 0 to 3. It's like a mini DSM for babies and toddlers. Listen to this.
We already targeted our school children with ADHD and bipolar. That's already done. That was done 20 years ago. And we're moving younger with DC-03 to the 0 to 3 age group, where they're trying to make popular the idea that it's okay to medicate 0 to 3-year-olds.
The idea of a program to determine whether a child from birth to the age of 3 has a mental illness is so preposterous, so absolutely insane, that it's simply an additional part of the insanity that is now extant throughout this country. I cannot think of a program that is more insane than that.
How are they going to diagnose a 1-year-old or an infant with a psychological disorder? How do they know?
You almost have to ask ourselves, if our societies become sick, what are we doing to our fetuses, our infants, our children, that would make us need to have psychiatric medications?
We're rolling dice with life. We're rolling dice with our children who can't even discuss it with anybody. They have no control. They are the helpless victims, and the ones who are supposed to protect them and care aren't armed with the facts.
If parents knew all this, they'd be furious.
You bet they would. But watch out, because the DSM also says you could catch a psychiatric disease from your children.
You can't be serious.
It's in the DSM.
Ugh.